Russian ballistic missiles hit the post office warehouse in Odessa. Experts say what consequences Ukraine will receive if it uses atoms to attack the Crimea bridge. The moment Russian missiles attacked Ukraine's HIMARS artillery. U.S. officials called on Russia and China to commit to not letting AI control nuclear weapons. Russian ballistic missiles hit the post office warehouse in Odessa. Odessa officials said a Russian ballistic missile hit a postal warehouse at the city's port, causing a large fire and injuring 14 people. Ola Kuiper, governor of Odessa province, southern Ukraine, announced on May 1 that a Russian ballistic missile hit the postal warehouse at Odessa port at nearly midnight, causing a large fire. 14 people were injured in the raid, one of whom required hospital treatment. The raided warehouse is owned by the postal and express delivery company Nova Poshta. According to Volodymyr Poporeshniak, leader of Nova Poshta, 18 employees working at the warehouse went to a shelter before the Russian missile hit the facility's loading and unloading area. Video of the raid showed the warehouse burning fiercely after the missile crashed, causing a loud explosion. The Ukrainian side did not say what Nova Poshta's warehouse contained before being hit by the missile. Russian website Rusvezna reported that since 2022, the Ukrainian army has turned this facility into a place to store military equipment and supplies. Russian forces repeatedly raided the city of Odessa after the conflict with Ukraine broke out in February 2022, claiming to target military infrastructure, command posts, and weapons warehouses in the city. Ukrainian officials said Russian raids in the past 2 days on the city of Odessa left 8 people dead. The Russian Ministry of Defense announced on May 1 that its forces attacked the headquarters of the Southern Command of Ukraine, but did not disclose the type of weapon and specific location of the target. The Southern Command of Ukraine was established in 1998 on the basis of the Odessa military district and had its headquarters in the city of the same name. Experts say what consequences Ukraine will receive if it uses atoms to attack the Crimea bridge. The Ukrainian government has repeatedly warned that it will destroy the Crimea bridge since its construction began. Now Kyiv has the U.S. Army's MGM-140 atoms tactical ballistic missile system, which can be deployed from the M270 MLRS and M142 HIMARS multi-purpose launchers. Armed Forces of Ukraine clearly had the opportunity to do what he wanted. The above developments attracted the attention of journalist and military expert Valery Shiryev, who in an interview with RTVI TV channel assessed the possible consequences for Ukraine. The analyst noted that the Russian army has a variety of weapons to retaliate in case the Ukrainian armed forces attack the Crimean bridge with atoms missiles, or other targets on Russian territory. Mr. Shiryev emphasized the fact that the entire country of Ukraine is within the range of Russian missiles, so we can talk about the destruction of a significant amount of their diverse and important infrastructure. If Moscow retaliates, Ukrainians are living in a greenhouse. Their country is being shot through by long-range weapons from all sides, from north to south, from west to east. Infrastructure options for a retaliatory strike chopsticks are very diverse, expert Shiryev warned. The analyst also pointed out that until recently, there were 32 bridges across the Dnieper River in Ukraine, but now only 28 remain. If they are destroyed, Ukraine will effectively be divided into 2 halves. Also, the Russian army Russia could destroy Ukraine's gas storage facilities, and one of them has already received a warning. The digital banking system could also be seriously compromised, which would cause payments across Ukraine to stop. Therefore, it is better for the armed forces of Ukraine not to abuse atoms missiles, the Russian military expert concluded. The moment Russian missiles attacked Ukraine's HIMARS artillery. Russia released a video of UAV tracking and pointing ballistic missiles attacking 2 Ukrainian HIMARS rocket artillery in Kharkov province. The crew operating the Iskander-M tactical ballistic missile of the Western Army carried out an attack on the hiding place of the US-made HIMARS complex, completely destroying 2 enemy launch vehicles, an anonymous source in the Russian Ministry of Defense said today. Russian media on the same day published video from an unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, showing an escort vehicle and 2 HIMARS rocket artillery moving on the road. The Russian UAV continuously monitored until the 2 HIMARS launch vehicles entered a hidden position in a forest. two large explosions erupted consecutively, creating large columns of smoke and shock waves that spread to the surrounding area. In the following image, a forest area was completely flattened at the location where Ukraine's HIMARS system was deployed. An anonymous source said that the HIMARS rocket artillery group was attacked in the village of Lelyukovka in Kharkov province, about 60 kilometers from the border of Lugansk province. It is unclear whether these complexes participated in the previous ATACMS missile attack on the Russian training ground near the town of Kuban. The Russian Ministry of Defense and the Ukrainian army have not commented on the information. Ukraine has operated M142 HIMARS rocket artillery since 2022, repeatedly using them in lightning raids against Russian forces. Western media said Ukraine owns 39 HIMARS projectile launchers, of which at least 3 artillery pieces were completely destroyed, 2 complexes were damaged and had to be shipped to the US for repair. Some Western experts believe that HIMARS artillery is currently not enough for Ukraine to balance firepower with enemy artillery. Russian forces seem to have adapted to HIMARS attacks, as well as finding jamming options to reduce the effectiveness of rocket bullets launched from this complex. U.S. officials called on Russia and China to commit to not letting AI control nuclear weapons. According to U.S. officials, many countries have committed to not letting AI control nuclear weapons, and Russia and China should also comply with this commitment. According to Reuters, in an online meeting on May 2, Mr. Paul Dean, arms control official of the U.S. State Department, called on Russia and China to comply with the statements of the U.S. and many other countries, that only humans, and never artificial intelligence, AI, make the decision to deploy nuclear weapons. According to Mr. Dean, Washington has made a clear and strong commitment to fully control nuclear weapons, and France and Britain also have similar commitments. We welcome a similar statement from China and Russia, said an official from the Department of Arms Control, Deterrence and Stability, U.S. Department of State. This official made his comments in the context that U.S. President Joe Biden's administration is trying to strengthen private discussions with China on nuclear weapons policy and the development of AI. According to Mr. Dean, Washington believes that this is an extremely important standard of responsible behavior and something that will be very welcome for countries that are permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. 5 countries are permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, including the US, Russia, France, UK, and China.